As a result of being under British rule for 124 years, Yangon, the former capital of Myanmar, boasts a rich heritage of architectural marvels from the colonial era. After that period, a military dictatorship ruled for nearly 50 years and isolated the country, cutting ties with the outside world, which caused time to move slowly here. The architectural changes were minimal, and many old colonial-style buildings have survived to this day. Consequently, Yangon has the highest number of buildings over a century old in Southeast Asia. The major transformation occurred, however, when Myanmar reopened to the world. The military dictatorship and self-isolation for many decades made Yangon a city with one of the highest number of ancient buildings in the world, giving it a distinctive identity compared to other major cities in the region. The current wave of development and modernization hitting Yangon, however, puts it at a crucial juncture, where it must decide whether to develop the city in alignment with neighboring countries or learn from the mistakes of surrounding cities and preserve certain aspects of its unique identity. The Irrawaddy River, known as the Ayeyarwaddy River to locals, still flows through Yangon as a wide waterway with bustling riverbanks reminiscent of its past. Along the riverfront and in the old city area, there are still some well-maintained colonial-style buildings that stand tall, while others have been abandoned and fallen into disrepair. These structures were built during the era when Myanmar was under British rule, carrying their stories through the passage of time. If the Shwedagon Pagoda could be likened to a jewel atop a crown, these ancient buildings can be seen as precious gems adorning the city.
Can you find many places like this across Yangon that is hidden gem like this?
Yeah, there are some hidden gems with different stories, exotic building, yeah, it is.
30 years ago, Myanmar underwent a significant transformation. The country's name changed from Burma to Myanmar, and the capital city moved from Yangon to Naypyidaw. The national flag and the national anthem were also changed. Today, physically, the majestic Shwedagon Pagoda atop the hill can still be seen from every corner, just as before. Sule Pagoda remains an iconic spot in the city and the centre of Buddhist devotion. New high-rise buildings and modern constructions have, however, been added to the cityscape. While the question remains whether colonial-era buildings should be demolished to make way for new structures or maintained for their nostalgic charm. It seems, though, that a significant number of people are striving to preserve the city's past. The Tourist Burma building, an iconic cream-coloured colonial-style structure, was originally built by the British as a modern department store, before being seized by the military government and later abandoned when the capital moved to Naypyidaw 15 years ago. Due to its prime location, if it were to be demolished and replaced with a high-rise building, it would yield significantly greater financial returns. Instead of being demolished, though, the building has been renovated and revitalized.
So they want to promote here, not to the modern building, historic building, so they are not allowed for the old building demolition. They checking, after that, if needed, they allow. If not needed, if can renovate. So like this building, so they try to promote and to renovate this building like that, yeah.
The first floor of the building is spacious and airy, with high ceilings and wide open spaces, reminiscent of old-style architecture. The unique design allows us to imagine the atmosphere of the department store from almost 100 years ago. The walls have been freshly painted in a vibrant blue-green colour, which is reminiscent of the original colour. The restoration work, including repairing the floors and applying the paint, required the same construction techniques as those used during that era, which often incorporated designs suitable for the local climate. unlike the prevalent use of concrete in modern times.
If we use the cement, so that will protect the moisture at the time flow will be coming up. So we have to use the original techniques like as a traditional lime and sand. So the moisture will be passing through the lime mortar and then going up.
The prominent advertisement mural on the wall originated along with the building 100 years ago.
We removed the paint layer by layer. After that, we found the black small area. So remove layer by layer. After that, we can see that there's two things. So this is the advert more than 100 years, we can say. So
it still looks modern.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The Tourist Burma building is a government-owned building in Yangon, which has undergone significant and faithful restoration, with techniques and experts following the standards for refurbishing old buildings. When the capital moved to Naypyidaw, many government buildings in Yangon were either abandoned or left in their original condition. Although they weren't demolished, over time they have deteriorated due to lack of maintenance, gradually becoming more dilapidated. This made restoration more challenging and costly. Nowadays, however, repairs can be easier and of better quality with modern technology. But what matters most is the perspective on these buildings. If they're deemed worthy of preservation, Myanmar needs to find experts and allocate budgets to maintain them.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
Under British rule, the old town area of Yangon had a grid-like urban layout, with large colonial-style buildings that housed various institutions, hotels and even residential townhouses. These old rows of buildings often remained in a dilapidated condition for over a century, with many hardly ever undergoing repairs, nearing collapse. When Myanmar opened up again, and there were no laws governing urban planning, these central locations became prime real estate, sought after by investors looking to replace them with high-rises. Some owners of these buildings chose to sell to investors rather than spending money on repairs. This has occurred in many major cities worldwide, when the soul of a city is destroyed along with its old buildings. Here in Yangon, however, the residents still have the opportunity to decide the future of their city. Min Saya and San, a young married couple from Myanmar, ride their bicycles leisurely through the alleys of the old town, before taking us up the steep staircase to the top floor of a 100-year-old green townhouse. Min Saya is a photographer, while San is an architect. Both are enchanted by the charm and uniqueness of the old buildings, combined with the soaring prices of newly built condominiums. They have made a decision to purchase a unit in an old townhouse instead.
People who live in these sort of colonial old apartments, like they don't have like the proper paperwork anymore. So there's we had to check down the heritage line of the original owners, and then.
This approximately 700 square foot room comes at a price of around $33,000. With this amount of money, if they were to buy a newly built condominium, it would be a considerably smaller unit. What the price here includes, however, is not only the sturdy structure, high ceilings of 4 to 5 meters, and an ambience filled with stories and memories.
Especially, we like that there's a lot of like buildings like us around.
Yeah.
Like, just it's all like colonial buildings just lined up instead of the ugly 8-story or the high-rise building.
You see, there is a 1987 building. They don't have the kind of balcony anymore.
Yeah. So this is even older than that.
So it's like.
Apart from the old charm, it also carries the burden of deterioration. The restoration and repair work is intricate and requires a considerable amount of money, which can be a significant financial commitment for the newlywed couple. Therefore, they've made the decision to sign a contract with an organisation called Do Ain, who will provide the funds for the renovation, and in return, the couple will lease the room to someone else for 3 to 5 years until they recoup the full repair costs. This business model aims to persuade the local community not to sell or demolish their old buildings, while attracting new owners like this couple, who are willing to preserve them.
So the ownership really stays in their hands. We just act as a service provider, supporting them to do the renovation, to do property management. And all in all, that makes it a quite low threshold, low risk alternative to demolition or neglect for heritage building owners.
Although it may take several more years for the couple to fully own this room, they are involved in every detail of the design and renovation process. The storage space under the roof will be transformed into a modern, loft-style bedroom, while preserving the original structure.
What we'll do is we'll take out the original ceiling, and then like make it a really nice loft bedroom, maybe. That's the idea. So to have like a bedroom in between these like old wooden structure. So I think that really gives you the ambience of like a colonial building.
That old building.
More space as well.
The dilapidated roof will be repaired and renovated to create a small garden where one can sit and enjoy the panoramic views of the city, providing a corner for relaxation. In just a few months, this apartment will be brought back to life. Due to its age, over 100 years, it will still exude classic charm while accommodating the functional needs of people these days. Located on the top floor of the white building, the apartment features a patterned wooden railing. The signature element of the colonial era in Bokale Alley is revived. We meet the tenant of this room, along with Jerome, the architect from Do Ain.
Hello, hi. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, please come in.
This is Nick, our tenant. He's been here for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Nick, an Englishman who moved to Yangon for work, wanted to live in the Old Town district until he came across Do Ain, which offered the lease of a renovated apartment.
And Do Ain will then take the apartment for 3, 4, 5 years, do the renovations, rent it out to someone like me, and then at the end of the 3 or 5 years, it's returned back to the owner, fully contribute to the stock of nice heritage buildings in Yangon.
The apartment retains its original open and airy layout, allowing natural light to filter through the large windows and doors, eliminating the need for artificial lighting during the day. At the same time, the architect has used modern design techniques to make the most of small areas for work and a floating bed. Inside the room, the meticulous repairs, design and craftsmanship make us almost forget that it was built long before World War II, enduring through weather and war, yet still standing strong to this day.
As you can see, a lot of them are a little bit decrepit because it costs a lot of money to maintain them. And so that's where Do Ain comes in, and we invest money, and then we work with the owners to restore and then maintain the buildings.
Preserving the identity and shaping the future of the city is not solely the responsibility of the government. Private organisations and the local community also play a significant role. They believe that a city shouldn't only be filled with new, tall buildings. The old, small buildings in this area may appear aged, but they are an integral part of the city. Apart from preserving the past and telling stories, these buildings also serve the people of the city. A grand old building hides amidst the trees in the heart of downtown Yangon. It's an ancient structure which has survived amidst the new construction throughout the city. The yellow building features wide verandas, stacked layers of flowing Victorian-style architecture. At over 100 years old, it stands proudly, with the front facing a road and a prominent emphasis on the surrounding lush gardens, making the building stand out magnificently. In the past, this place was the residence of wealthy Chinese and Indian businessmen, before it became the property of the military government after the coup in 1962. It later became part of a school. The headmaster and the library were located in this area before undergoing renovations.
The
exterior, which was once dilapidated, worn and weathered, has been renovated and restored to its former beauty. Inside the building, the Corinthian-style columns with intricate leaf and flower patterns, which were once cracked, have been meticulously repaired and now appear smooth. Although it may look worn, the structure remains strong and durable, allowing it to be restored and brought back into use. Restoring and renovating the architectural features of a past era, however, requires skilled craftsmen with experience in every detail, from the columns, beams, doors and walls to the ceilings. The exquisite and beautiful sculpting and carving can't be found in this day and age. It's been assessed that possibly hundreds of hidden ancient homes can be found in the suburbs of Yangon. Due to the country's isolation and slow development, these beautiful heritage houses haven't been destroyed, but nor have they been well maintained. Myanmar lacks money, engineers, architects and skilled craftsmen for the preservation of these buildings. The Yangon Heritage Trust is the only organisation with a few skilled craftsmen with expertise in conserving old buildings.
Records from the colonial period were...
The Trust was founded by a group of architects and historians who are passionate about preserving the heritage of Yangon while promoting its development. Robert, an Australian expert in vintage buildings, joined the Myanmar government to compile a comprehensive list of all the old buildings in Yangon. The purpose was to establish criteria for evaluating whether these buildings should be preserved or demolished, especially during a time when Yangon lacked laws protecting these structures.
Formal heritage list only has 188 buildings on it. Actually, one of the important things that YHT does is to create a new list, a more in-depth list. And so far we've covered about 10% of the city, and we've identified something like 6,000 heritage buildings.
Many cities in Southeast Asia have old colonial-style buildings, but most have been modified or demolished, except here in Yangon. As we enter the corner building on 27th Street, surrounded by two old townhouses, we notice small trees beautifully lined up against the walls. The walls are adorned with vibrant murals and patterns, bringing life and colour to the ageing building. Despite its weathered appearance, the lush greenery of the trees and the vibrant hues on the walls create a lively and uplifting atmosphere.
In Yangon, we have lots of alley gardens like this, but after political transformation, the alley gardens are blocked, and it is forbidden from the general public to access here, and later it is filled with waste, dirty water. It is very bad for the air pollution, for health.
This small area has not undergone any major renovations or improvements. It's simply the community's efforts to make it more beautiful and appealing to the eye. Old buildings are not just bricks and mortar to be admired. If they can still serve a purpose and be inhabited, they gain even more value and significance. As major cities in the region develop in similar directions, preserving these historical structures in Yangon is a unique and captivating feature that sets it apart. The ability to preserve these historical buildings creates a distinctive charm and allure that cannot be found anywhere else.
And you won't find anywhere anymore like this kind of building in, no. So yeah, this should be like the treasure to keep it for like the history.
You know, I often think, what will Yangon be like coming back in 30 years? And I hope it's a city that has managed to modernize. It's managed to give its residents all the opportunities of a modern city, but still hasn't lost its unique heritage, its built heritage and its culture, and has maintained that. And I think that will give the city a competitive edge over its regional neighbours.
The old buildings are remnants of the colonial era, evoking strong sentiments of resistance and bitter memories of occupation. These factors may contribute to their neglect. Additionally, financial considerations play a significant role. If Myanmar can overcome these factors and restore these buildings to their former glory, while also progressing with new developments, it would create a harmonious blend of the past and present. This can be achieved through proper legislation, thoughtful urban planning, and effective allocation of space. By doing so, the enchantment of the past will shine alongside the modernity of the present.